For those listening, you have multiple
So the
locations.
the goal is, and I would say the very key thing is culture, right? Culture and people, and then processes. And so I've established, I've got an operations guy, I have a marketing team. Hey guys, welcome to Altitude Huntsville, right? We are the very, very first altitude trampoline park in Alabama. At one point, we were the largest indoor trampoline park. We've been here since 2017. We just completed a significant remodel, and we're super excited to show this to you guys.
Beautiful.
Not only have we changed a lot of attractions, we've added a lot of new things, and we've made it more broader for a larger group of people that can come and enjoy the park.
How long did the remodel take?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's pretty fast. In construction,
We can knock that down to 3. We're going to.
Wow. So because you have other locations. For those listening, you have multiple
So
locations.
the goal is for us to eventually continue remodeling, right? So most of the parks that are in the US are at one point aged and they need to be remodeled. And so we spend a lot of time, energy understanding what's this way to cut costs but continue to stay open. We stayed open during the entire remodel process. The team worked through the night. Everything here is modular. So in the next remodels that we do, there'll be components that I can move to another park and bring those components here. So from a customer's perspective, they'll see attractions that they've never seen before. And that will continually stay fresh. So in this specific reason, this park was 7 years old. In the future, we'll remodel every 2 to 3 years.
It's kind of an amazing thing. When you look online, you hear the anticipation building up. There's like, oh, we can't wait for the remodel. We can't wait for the remodel. So what is it like having to stay open instead of closing, and then having to deal with that anticipation, but also trying to keep the lights on and get some business?
Well, I think it was very daunting at first, right? And planning it out. But what's interesting is we did everything in phases. We would do a section. So the customers would see under construction, give us 1 week, and they would come back a few days later, all of a sudden, all new attraction. So we saw that through the entire 6 weeks. And when the project was done, you see the faces and the kids that walk in through the park. They're like, we've been here 4 or 5 times already, right? And oh my gosh, it's all new. How did this happen?
In the average parks, so they have our conversations about 1.5 people times a year that they go.
Correct.
So what you're saying is, okay, this is another reason to come into the park. So what's that like? Because you're trying to ramp up memberships, but also repeat customers. So what is that like, that relationship between the remodel and this?
So I think having the remodel, so these are people that have been through the park, that have seen it, kind of got bored. Now they're actually kind of kicking the tires at other locations, right? When the remodel is done, now there's more of a reason to come back. And the attractions that we have is that every time that they're on that attraction, the experience could be slightly different. So it continually stays fresh. And now you talked about memberships, right? So that is the golden opportunity for these people that are, instead of coming 1.5 times a year, they're coming multiple times, they convert to a membership. And we want to become a very experiential brand, right? We don't just want to be a product or a service, we want to be experiential. And through the marketing services that we're working with you and Gilbert, we want to be able to provide those experiential opportunities.
Beautiful. Well, let's go and explore some of the experiences.
So this used to be the rock wall, right?
Oh.
And what this used to be is that no more than 2 people could be on the attraction at a time. However, with this attraction, 8 people can be on the attraction at the same time. And the idea is to throw the ball at these targets and be able to either get the most number of scores or you block the other person, right? And again, this is gamified. In the future, Huntsville can play against Lawrenceville and any other future park.
That's interesting. Okay, so for those that don't know, these are separate franchises that you're gamifying against, so have some healthy competition.
Healthy
with the community, right?
Because most the children and the adults grew up in a gamified world. So they're used to knowing what games are and keeping score and all this, right?
Yeah.
High level, there's a formula, right? So we're a 40,000 square foot space, and the formula is 20,000 square foot attractions. Because it's like a restaurant. You want to be able to give your patrons enough experiential places, attractions to do, but then another nice place where they can sit down, have birthday parties, have concessions, sometimes be able to work, right? So based on that, up until a couple weeks ago, 40,000 square foot space, we offered 15 attractions. Now we're up to 27 different attractions. And so the main space is this, what they call the main trampoline area. This is where the kids come, jump, they're congregating, they're talking, they're showing their different tricks and all this stuff, right?
And there's a different, they're not all the same, so can you talk about the importance of the different layouts?
Sure. So this long trampoline here is called the tumble mat.
Okay.
And this is someone who wants to do multiple flips. They can go up against an angle wall, bounce back. Those are called jump boxes, where they can jump from one box to another and back. And then those are the main trampolines over there where and so the idea is one person per trampoline,
Okay.
and they can jump, talk, and exercise. And so what you'll notice here is the color scheme too. We revamped the color scheme. We wanted to give it that colors, that pop, specifically with our glow. So a lot of the things you see will glow in the night.
Talk more about that. So what's the glow party?
The glow party is meant to be on Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay.
It's from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And it's like, imagine a clean nightclub, no alcohol, no drugs, right? Parents come with their kids, listen to really good upbeat music, and at the same time be able to be on these trampolines and enjoy themselves.
What's the ages that is most popular? Because I can see that, back in our day, we'd go to the roller skating rink.
Yes,
So
yes.
that'd be more of a teenage crowd, but is it like
Yes.
a 7, 8-year-old, or is it teenagers?
So the age demographic has really changed. So before the remodel, that ideal age demographic was probably between 5 to like 12. Now with the remodel, we've gone down as low as six months. And I'll show you that in a little bit in the toddler zone. And then the older age demographic is this 3-story ninja course,
Right.
which is significant, right? And I don't think anyone...
Ninja Warriors, future Ninja Warriors, here we go.
Exactly, and this whole thing is gamified. Customers coming through, they're able to start, and then they run through the different maze, and when they come out, they come down this pole, and the person behind them, and the goal is how quickly can you go through the maze and go through the different obstacles and come down.
Wonderful. And this has just been out for, how long has this been open?
This has been open the last week.
Wow.
Yep.
See, they get the idea.
Yes, and so we're really setting the standard, and so we want to do a lot of out-of-the-box thinking in terms of what we want to do, and it's not just, it's the little things, like you'll notice the colors and the graphics in the back, right? Bring in all the things that's unique to Huntsville, Alabama, which is Rocket City, capital of the U.S.
Let me ask you a business question. So
Yes.
you said some of the other parks are dated. You took the initiative, you put the investment in to update it. So what's holding the other parks back that know that they need to do it? They've got a park that's 5 to 7 years that needs some sprucing up. Is it just they don't care, or they just are not?
Well, I think the thought process was always like build new, they'll come, right? And then there's this fear of closing down, right? So if you close down for anywhere, let's say an average month, it can cost you $150,000. And then on top of that, the remodel cost could be $1 to $1.5, $2 million, almost the cost of a new park.
Wow.
And so
it's
again,
balanced.
so we cut that remodel cost by half. And again, we were open the entire time while the remodel happened.
Any insights there? How did you do that? You just had the right people, the right management?
It was the right manufacturer. It's Acrobat. Acrobat is a Slovenian company, and I would call it German engineering. Everything they do is very precise. Think of it like an automobile, right? And we structured a deal where they would work through the night, and they would sleep during the day, so that allowed us to be open. And again, we did everything in different sections. So this was going down, we had covering all the way up, they would work through the night. This was down for probably a couple of days, but within about 7 days, this was erected and ready to go. And then we would move to dodgeball. So we would move to different sections of the park. So we're super excited about dodgeball. Dodgeball traditionally is taking a ball and trying to hit the other person. So a lot of times you have older kids really pelting the younger kids, and kids are crying. This is gamified where the people are throwing the games at the different targets and not each other. And again, Huntsville can play against Lawrenceville and any of my future parks.
Question about that, though. Kind of a funny question, but do you think that you might be accused of taking the fun out of that ball?
Well, ironically, they're still throwing the ball at each other. So this is just an option to throw it at the target versus another child.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, that's great. And have you guys kicked off the competition between parks yet?
No, so we're going to. So again, this was completed about 7 days ago. The goal is to now start competitions between Lawrenceville and Huntsville. And the reason we can do that, because Lawrenceville is an Acrobat park, and it's gamified in electronics and all of the back end, and they can talk with this park.
Wonderful. So you anticipate that other parks would want to do the same?
Yeah, I believe so, once they see the data.
Great.
Yeah. So we're already seeing about a 20% sales lift between last week or this week that we're wrapping up and the weeks before. And I think we're going to continue to see that sales lift to get back to where we were when we first opened. If you look down here, you've got the space shuttle, and this is called the stunt jump, where kids come up, they jump, they land on the airbag. But unlike traditional airbags, depending on where you land, it makes a sound, right? And the idea there is we want, when they jump and they dismount, we want them to land into a specific area, and the sound will reinforce where to land. So this is super popular. It's called Sports Track, and it's where you can play basketball, you can play soccer, you can play volleyball. And again, the graphics in the back with the space shuttle, the whole space theme. And here you see adults are playing on one side, you've got kids are playing on one side.
What's different about the floor versus the normal trampoline?
So think of this as like a large air mattress, right? So it's not a trampoline, but you're able to jump on this, and you're able to jump, maybe a couple inches higher than you normally would. I think everyone aspires to be a Michael Jordan, right, or a Kobe, but they can't. But with the Sports Track, you can.
Huh.
So you kind of saw what he did, right?
Yeah.
So he did that.
So it gives you a little lift.
It gives you a little lift, yep. We were the very first to have an indoor zip line in Alabama. And so we wanted to continue with that theme of having it. We got rid of all the foam, and then we have zip line on this side, trapeze on this side, and battle beams in the back corner. And again, we bring in all the colors, the graphics, the space shuttle, the aliens, all the branding elements that we want for the park that's unique to Alabama.
Beautiful. And then this, how does this work exactly?
So you stand here, you grab, and you swing,
Okay.
and then you spin, you dismount, land over there.
Oh, okay.
And so unlike our competitors in the market, you got to pay for every attraction you use. Our model's different. One price of entry, access to all attractions.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier for the parents because when you feel like you're getting nickel and a dime, when you go in there, it's like, oh, I paid for entry, then you want this and this and it's everything else.
Exactly.
So you're just taking friction, you're removing it.
So one of the big opportunities that we saw with the park was, we had something for the older kids, and not all the younger kids were old enough or big enough to do a stunt jump or trapeze or zip line, right? So that's why we built out this toddler zone, right? So everything is soft play, everything is small touch, right? Parents can sit, watch, be close to their child. They have a little mini climbing rock wall there, right? They've got the little stairs with the little slides. For the kids who are in the crawling stage, want to be able to do kind of the ninja performance, they can do that. We even have mini trampolines over here that if the kids want to bounce, we've got the ball pit, different animal sounds, and this whole ninja course, right? And the parents can get up. We want the parents to be with the children, to be up and close, and to be interactive. And that's why we built this, where the parents could walk along with the children, guide them, give them a level of confidence. And when the child's ready, or if they want, they can immediately go play with the other side. But we intentionally keep the older kids away from this area because we want the little kids to feel confident. And it's about motor skills, right? Motor skills, and again, building up their level of confidence.
And this, tell me about the design too. How did that process work? So
we spent a lot of time thinking through what works, what doesn't work. In the industry, everyone's doing soft play, right? So my other two locations, we built a significant soft play in Lawrenceville. The data showed, the parents liked it, but we had all these issues where my child is stuck, my child's not comfortable, can you go get them? So in Austell, we went and built another soft play, we call it hard play, and it was small, and the kids didn't enjoy it. And the biggest thing we learned is the parents want to be close to the child wants the parents to be close, but then give them all these areas that they can walk around. And if a parent need to work, they can sit here and work while the child is playing. When you look around, you'll see parents just kind of sitting here watching the kids.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's interesting. So you went through a few iterations
of data
of that.
Correct. A lot of data, a lot of redesigning. Let's take a look at this mock-up. And so the feedback that we've gotten online from parents has been tremendous, right? And so, like we talked earlier, right? I'm able to go into a younger age demographic, which I wasn't able to do, and then provide these other attractions for an older age.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, those families that have a teenager and then a 5-year-old, it's like
Yes.
they're together but separate. You know,
Yes.
they've got their lane they can stick
Yes.
to. Ben, tell me about the significance of having an area for parties where parents can get served and create a great experience for their kids.
Well, being able to host birthday parties is a significant part of our revenue model, right? And so it's also part of showing that experiential piece of it about coming in as a group. So when I was a child, I was given a water bottle and said, go to the park or invite your friends to the house, and that was it.
Stay outside.
Stay outside. Now it's all about planning, right? Parents are planning that birthday party out 2-3 months. You're inviting a larger group. I know when my kids were in school, you had to invite the entire class, right? And that causes a lot of stress for that parent or for that mom. And now that we've eliminated that, right? They're simply able to give us a call, say this is the day of the party, and we'll handle everything from the planning, sending out the RSVP, ordering the food, setting up the table, giving out the slices of pizza, cutting the cake and everything. And when that party's done, that mom has enjoyed the party, the mom and the dad has enjoyed the party, and they're not stressed out. And when they leave, we take care of all the cleaning, right? So when these kids leave, they had a phenomenal time. They're exhausted, and they had a phenomenal memory.
And
right?
it's time to go to bed.
It is time to go to bed.
So tell me how important it is for a place like this in the community to be thriving. What does it mean to the folks, families out there?
So we service about 10,000 customers a month, right? We are a community partner. We live and die by the community. So to be fully engaged as a community partner is very important to us, right? So we provide a service and a product and an experience for the community, and we provide high level of customer service. I tell my team, exceptional customer service. Anything else is a failure. So we score ourselves 1 through 5. Anything below a 5 comes to me. And I want an action plan. What do we do? What do we fail? How do we make ourselves better, right? And so I believe in that Southern charm, yes sir, no ma'am, getting to know your customers because you want them to come back. I myself as a parent, so when we built this park, I built it as if it was for my kids.
I mean, they're the greatest feedback right there.
Yes, they are.
You can put something in front of them and say, "Oh, I love this. Oh, I don't." So what do they think? I mean, they've been through all of it, right?
The feedback's been amazing, right? So I've been here at the park and asking the customers in terms of, hey, what's working, what's not, what brought you in, what did you like about the park? I want constructive criticism because although the park is complete, my head, I'm already out 2-3 years, right? I'm thinking like, how do we make this better, right? And the reason I'm thinking that is because as my other parks need upgrades, I want those upgrades to go into that park. So we're always in experimental mode where we'll put something new into a park, we'll test it out. If it works, we'll replicate and build it out.
So you started, was it a calling at an early age to be an entrepreneur? Can you tell us a little bit about your background, your trajectory?
My family's Indian. We migrated here when I was very young, and that tenacity, having the American dream was big, right? And so that work ethic just was generational. And so coming to the U.S., always looking for that opportunity. Education was very important, but we also needed money, right? So if I had to buy something, it was like I had to figure out a way to generate money to go make those purchases. So between cutting grass, doing the paper route, all this stuff, just kind of gave me that idea of money management and kind of the how things worked in the world. And that kind of led to multiple things, right? And then that got me to where we are today, which is trampoline business, which I never thought I'd be in, right? So what I've understood is that when you look at the economy as a whole, there's a couple of things that are kind of recession-proof, right? Is one, people will continue to spend money on kids. Second, they'll kind of continue to spend money on pets, and then eventually on themselves. And so that led me to, because I had my children, I wanted a place that I could take my kids to, and that's how we got into the trampoline business.
So that's kind of the thing to look for if you're looking to open a franchise or invest in it, is like see what's recession-proof.
Correct.
Right, that kind of it's going to survive the ups and downs. But again, that just because it can do that, that doesn't mean there's not challenges. So
no.
Tell us about the challenges of when you met the leadership with Altitude.
Yeah.
It was relational, and then you said, okay, yeah, this is for me. How did you make that shift? And then what are the challenges?
Yeah, so when I was vetting whether or not to be in the trampoline business, then the next question became which brand, right? So there's a variety of different brands out there, and it just so happened the founders of Altitude, one was a founder of CarMax, the other gentleman was an executive vice president at Ryder. And they were great because they were very hands-on, and they were growing with the brand. They gave us a lot of latitude in terms of what the brand looked like, generating revenues. It wasn't restrictive, and I really liked that. That allowed me as an entrepreneur to continue to kind of flourish. And then to answer your other question regarding some of the challenges, right? COVID was a punch in the gut, right? We were shut down, and then, how are we going to reopen? Because what we do is, we've got very high overhead costs, right? We're in a 40,000 square foot facility. Rent is very high, insurance is very high, and being closed for several months was very, and not knowing when you're going to reopen, right? Luckily for me, I'm a planner, right? And so we always have money in reserves for situations like this. And it wasn't like the insurance company or the landlord were coming out and providing checks, right? But we survived. We were closed for a couple of months. I kept my key people on payroll. And I said, look, even though the park is closed, let's do things in the park, right? Cleaning, maintenance, and all this stuff. Because I knew one day we're going to reopen and I needed staff. But again, corporate was great as we did that. And we came out of that. And I think the positive thing with COVID was we learned cost control, right? So now we went back to the budget and said, hey, where can we control costs without impacting customer satisfaction?
So you kind of informed your lean strategy?
Yes, the lean strategy. You nailed it.
So is it a fight for real estate? Because the competition, right, you're looking for 35, 40,000 warehouses essentially that you can reconvert. So what is it like? Because there's fierce competition.
Yeah, so we looked at industrial zones and things like that, right? And so that's how the FECs, Family Entertainment Centers, began. That's where a lot of the initial trampoline parks were. The problem is customers had to kind of go out of their way, and some of those areas are not necessarily safe. So now we're in these retail establishments, and these big boxes, there's a lot of big boxes, the business model no longer works, right? And you've got new models popping up all the time. Luckily for us, the spaces that I'm in, like a Simon Mall property, right? We were the very first to get in with Simon Mall. And because we got in with Simon Mall, proved out the model, now they've basically come back to us and said, hey, where do you want to go? And so in that way, availability is there. The biggest thing for us is making sure we secure a space where we can pay the rent, right? When you get into a model where rent is, $30, $50 a square foot, the business model doesn't work. So our sweet spot is, $8, $9, $10, $12 a square foot. But again, you're looking at a 40,000 square foot space, right? It's very expensive.
So let's talk about scaling. How do you look at scaling, and let's tie it to, obviously you're in this business to serve the community, but also to, have good business. So how do you look at scaling, the pace of it? What are some things we can learn from you?
So when I first got into the business, that was the first thing I said, look, I don't want to be one location. I want to be multiple locations. And I think a lot of my corporate experience allowed me to do that. And then really understanding, one, how the model works. So Huntsville was the very first experiment, and we probably would have scaled sooner if it hadn't been for COVID. Now I currently have 3 locations, 2 more in development, but I manage a group of 10 parks, and that's going to grow to 40 parks, hopefully in the next 48 months, 24 to 48 months. And it's really creating the management team around it. And I would say the very key thing is culture, right? Culture and people, and then processes. And so I've established, I've got an operations guy, I have a marketing team, HR, payroll processing. So you need all those elements to be in place to be able to scale. Luckily, I did a lot of this myself to understand what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, so talking about like business models or using models, it seems like you're creating a model here that you can replicate. So how how do you plug in things to your model, and how do you extract things from your model?
Yep. So from a facility standpoint, it's really understanding what attractions generate money, and from an experiential standpoint, what kind of impact you're making on people, right? And so based on that, we have a lot of data, right? And so we're always surveying our customers and listening to the customer to figure out what they like, what they appreciate, what brings them back. So based on that, as we build out new locations, we laser focus on those opportunities. At the same time, looking at new attractions that will bring people as the market continues to evolve. And then we go back to an older park like Huntsville, and that's why we did the remodel, right? Between the other parks, we had a lot of data to understand what was driving customer behavior and implementing that here. And so I'm a data fiend, right? So every morning I have data in terms of how's revenue, how's foot traffic, what was our conversions, and we look at everything on a daily basis to see like why are we not hitting that KPI. An example of that is percentage of payroll or revenue. The numerator is labor, and the denominator is revenue. The sweet spot is right around 18%. And if you fall below that threshold, let's say 14, 15, now you're actually risking customer satisfaction, right? You don't have enough people out there to service your customers. Anything more than that, like 20, 23, 24%, now your labor cost it's off the charts, right? So that 1 point variable equates to about $5,400.
Wow.
Yes.
It reminds me, like thinking about software development, there's this idea that, you want to make your product for the customer, but there comes, if you're developing software, that can be endless. There's always feature requests. So how do you balance the relationship between what the community wants, because it's a brick and mortar, what do they want versus what do you invest in?
Yep. So a lot of it, again, I think it's going back and listening to your customer and, giving the example of Apple, right? Steve Jobs, they don't know they want this, but they will want it when they see it, right? And so that's some of what we do here as well. And the prime example is KidZone. When I look at soft play, my other locations, we built out these amazing soft plays. Well, one of the feedbacks that we got from the parents is like, my child is stuck, or doesn't know how to get out of soft play, or my child is scared. So in this location, we developed a toddler area where the parents are within a couple of feet of their child at any given time, and we want them to be engaged. So that little child is able to build up confidence, and then when they're ready, they can experience the rest of the park. And so the feedback we've got on toddler, especially this one, has just been amazing. And what drove the development of that was a lot of data, and I'm very hands-on, right? I need to be able to understand, see it. Again, as a parent and as a business owner, I understand what works.
So you made those design changes. So would you consider it's your iPhone of the 5 and below play area?
Yes, it is. It really is. It really is. And now, we've only had it operational 2 weeks. Even now, there's data. And so the next toddler zone will be the next evolution. And so everything we do here is modular, right? And so as I'm building out parks, I'm going to be able to take an attraction from, let's say, Park B, move it to Park A, and then from Park A to Park D, right? From the customer standpoint, they've never seen that attraction. So it's a new attraction. And we're going to be able to do those refreshes probably every 2 years. So we service about 10,000 customers a month, right? We are a community partner. We live and die by the community. So to be fully engaged as a community partner is very important to us, right? So we provide a service and a product and experience for the community, and we provide high level of customer service. I tell my team, exceptional customer service. Anything else is a failure. So we score ourselves 1 through 5. Anything below a 5 comes to me. And I want an action plan. What do we do? What do we fail? How do we make ourselves better, right? And so I believe in that Southern charm, yes sir, no ma'am, getting to know your customers because you want them to come back. I myself as a parent, so when we built this park, I built it as if it was for my kids.
I mean, they're the greatest feedback right there.
Yes, they are.
You can put something in front of them and say, oh, I love this. Oh, I don't. So what do they think of? I mean, they've been through all of it, right?
The feedback's been amazing, right? So I've been here at the park and asking the customers in terms of, hey, what's working, what's not, what brought you in, what did you like about the park? I want constructive criticism because although the park is complete, my head, I'm already out 2-3 years, right? I'm thinking like, how do we make this better, right? And the reason I'm thinking that is because as my other parks need upgrades, I want those upgrades to go into that park. So we're always in experimental mode where we'll put something new into a park, we'll test it out. If it works, we'll replicate and build it out.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're creating a great model for testing and iteration, and you're setting the standard. You're setting the standard a lot higher, and a lot of the other owners can look to you for that leadership.
We certainly want to be the best of the best.
It's very clear. Well, thanks, Ben. It's been great.
Thank you.